it raises a few concerns for a lot of the MMA fighters, particularly like people like Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa pulled out of. Actually, let's talk about that. Actually, I want to bring that up.
Okay.
Paulo Costa was supposed to fight Cannonier. Essentially, the UFC and a lot of media outlets has actually said Paulo Costa is going to face Cannonier on this date. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that.
When Paulo actually says, "I'm actually not fighting," you guys have put that out, but I've never even signed the contract.
Yeah.
And he says, "Actually, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not getting fair pay." And he says anything less than 350 grand is a joke.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes sense. Like, what Paulo Costa is going to fight Jared Cannonier, a killer in the top. I think Jared Cannonier is probably maybe number 4 in the rankings, or he might be a little bit lower now.
I think he's 3 or 4. Yeah.
So somewhere a little bit lower now, because after Jared Cannonier lost to Robert Whittaker, he might have dropped down a few spots, and he's not going to get over he's not going to get anything more than 350 grand. For fighting a killer like that. It's tough. It's tough, man. So he's actually pulled out of that, and I believe someone else is going to face Jared Cannonier instead. I don't know who it actually is going to be. I'm going to quickly check. For some reason, my mind is saying Kelvin Gastelum. However,
that wouldn't be a bad fight.
Yes. Yes, Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah.
He's set to face Jared Cannonier on August 21st. So, yeah. So I understand that there's becoming a growing movement now for, why are boxers getting paid so well, and people in the UFC, which is arguably the biggest, most well-known promotion in terms of MMA, while they're making so much less than that. There's a big difference between the pay-per-view that they're able to, get in boxing than specifically the UFC. I understand, because it's a little bit more mainstream and things like that. But to get paid, I think they only get paid somewhere between 12 and 18% of what overall, the fighters get collectively 12 to 18%. And obviously, the big ones at the top get the most bit, and then it trickles down. There's people in the UFC that are still making 10 and 10, 20 and 20. That's bad.
Yeah.
What? You're going to get paid 10K to show up and 10K to win. Because if you don't win and you lose, you just made 10 grand. How are you supposed to... originally, then there was Reebok.
Mm-hmm.
Reebok made it unable for you to make any money from sponsors. So a lot of these fighters... They're broke.
Yeah.
They're flat broke. And I understand why earlier when we talked about Tyron Woodley moving to boxing to make a little bit of money, he's going to get millions of dollars. He's going to make a multi-million payday. He's not going to make $1 million. He's probably going to make close to $2 million against Jake Paul. Why wouldn't he? It does raise the concern for some of these fighters like Paulo Costa. He's in the top 5, hasn't fought since his loss to Israel Adesanya, but he's very marketable. Well, you can't get him more than 350 grand to show up. That's bad. That is bad.
Again, it's time. It's the other thing. It's time of the UFC's been around. Like, if you look back at it, back in the day, like, what were UFC fighters getting? A lot less, even more, probably less. And now it's just fighters that get it, because the fighting's just been around for so much longer.
Yeah.
And it comes down to who knows. Unfortunately, boxing just isn't as big now as UFC is. Like, older stars are coming back, like Mike Tyson. Like, everyone knew who Mike Tyson was. Everyone knew who Roy Jones Jr. is. It's just UFC and MMA is just not as strong, as popular as I always would like it to be.
But the promotion doesn't give much money to them. That's the thing, the percentage.
Yeah.
How come the fighters only get about 12 to 18%?
Mm-hmm.
How can they be giving 12 to 18% of what is made?
Yeah.
But without the fighters, you would have nothing.
Yeah.
I understand the promotion. The promotion is what builds the story, and they're really good at that. UFC especially, really good at building stories, which is actually what fights are about. You get invested, and whenever anyone is emotionally invested, doesn't matter if in retail or whatever, if they're emotionally invested, they will buy it because they're acting on emotions, not logic, right? So it doesn't make sense, and it does raise a few concerns on, it feeds into the lawsuits that are going on, with Mike Hunt and other fighters that are saying, we're looking for fair fighter pay, because in boxing they have the Ali Act and things like that and so forth that make sure that boxers got given fair pay. In the MMA, that's not a thing, you know. So it's really really tough.
Yeah.
It's really really tough that these MMA fighters they're unable to make the kind of money that some YouTubers can make in boxing. That's sad. That's really really sad.